In 3, 2, 1. With us right now is Jateya Jones. Jateya, you are found on the web at jateyajones.com. That's Jateya Jones.com. And you are a clarity consultant. This is going to be fun. Jateya, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be able to have time with you and actually chat with you today.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So what does a clarity coach do?
Definitely. That's a 100 question that I always get. But basically, we get to the core of things so we can get to either the ideation phase or process improvement when it comes to your business. My target population that I love to work with are multi-passionates. Most of them don't identify as such, but they are the ones who love to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. In the business world, they call themselves serial entrepreneurs. And so with them, it's easy to look at their skill sets and how they cross-function across all of the different things that they would like to do to really maximize their impact and income, because many of them function in silos instead of synergies. And when we function in,
Is this a personality trait that when we think about multi-passionate, like, is that just kind of the way that they're wired? Or tell me more about that. What's going on there?
Definitely. It's actually a characteristic trait that is built over time. Many of them are creatives or innovators. I call them visionaries. And so being in the society that we all reside in, you're taught or conditioned to fit into a singular lane. You're taught to go after the things that make sense or make money. Doctor, lawyer, that type of thing when you're young, because that's our parents' version of safety, right? Is to prepare you for the future. And so they feel stifled. They go along this journey of life of trying to find the thing that really lights them up, that allows them to actually prosper as well and be an adult. And so they find themselves in C-suites looking to do that thing that they're ashamed to say because people are like, that's not a real job. How are you going to make money doing that? Or they find themselves on this entrepreneurial journey and they're bouncing from one thing to the next, looking for the thing that really continuously lights them up and makes the revenue that they're seeking. And so that's where I come in and I help them find that common thread between all of these passions that they have, because once they find that, they clearly articulate themselves, they clearly execute their goals, and they're able to actually prosper in that purpose, and not feel ashamed and be the trailblazer that they were destined to be. So.
Yeah. And I think it could be easy to look at this personality trait and say, well, that's not ideal. Come on, you need to just pick a lane, stay in one thing, focus on one thing, and, conform. And where I think what we're talking about is it can be incredibly valuable. We need those visionaries. We need those people that are open to new ideas. Like, this is, first off, the world needs all types. So but I think sometimes we do have the tendency to look at that passion as a negative, right? You're just getting shiny object syndrome. I'm like, that's not really it. It's like, what's your take on that?
I totally agree with everything you just stated. And that is the number one thing that causes them to blend in. So when I work with corporations to come in and help them identify their multi-passionates, they're able to really leverage that program improvement or production and performance from their employees, because one, you have happier employees instead of the phrase that we're hearing going around today, quiet quitting or the great resignation, right? They feel valued, they feel acknowledged, and they're able to thrive in these different areas. And the example that I always give is that if you have someone who is great at graphic design, finance, and writing, you have a powerhouse compared to someone who is just focused in finance. You're able to really truly adhere to those skill sets and maximize that person's passion for all of those things, as well as help your business thrive and get to your financial revenue goals that you have as well.
I think that, for folks that are listening to us right now that are working in a team environment, and maybe they do. They feel themselves bored because they don't have, to my fellow Enneagram sevens, I hear you.
Exactly.
Listen, you are among friends. And I remember, my last corporate job, you know, I really needed to advocate for myself because I think otherwise, I felt some friction from, from my leadership at that time. I was much younger. And I really had to say, listen, for me, variety really, if you want me to excel, I need something other than just, this one simple task that I'm just gonna be cranking out over and over and over again. I need to feel like I have some control. I can be a little bit creative. I can pull in resources. I can create new things. And I just remember a conversation where I had with, one of my bosses, and I told him that, and it was just like, it was almost like, oh, that's what's wrong with you, kind of like, but now it's wrong with you. But, it's like, he didn't think to ask those right questions to kind of identify, my strengths. He always just like, what we don't want to do as leaders as look at this personality trait as a defect. It is such a gift. When you have team members that can do this thing.
Yes, definitely. And the sad part for me is that many do look at it as a negative. And so a lot of multi-passionates don't embrace what I call their superhero power, right? Because they are wanting to fit in. They don't have the tools to help them articulate themselves or advocate for themselves like you did in certain situations. Or in the past they have, and they're looked at with the glazed eyes and dismissed. And so therefore they go to the next job. A lot of millennials are considered to be a negative because they're hopping from thing to thing or job to job, but they truly are very innovative and have the tools to really take businesses to the next level, because they are those visionaries and those creatives. And so to your point, yes, it is not a negative, but that is how many perceive it to be. And so it's my mission to really bring awareness and remove that stigma. Most of them are labeled as flakes or not having commitment or things of that nature, where they really truly are just bored. And there are a lot of companies that are taking heed to this. I always shout out Microsoft, because back in the day when I worked for them, they would have like all the things, Play-Doh, pipe cleaners on the tables during meetings. And though I was making my Kermit the Frog out of Play-Doh that I was very proud of, I was paying attention and I excelled while I was there because they were able to really tap into that. And this was over a decade ago, and really pull those skill sets out of me. And so they've been a leader in the industry with being able to really pull that out and maximize the skill set of multi-passionates.
All right. So now for our folks that are listening to us, they're like, okay, yeah, you nailed me. How can I use what I've got and this element of focus? Like, how do we take us through maybe a bit of a transformation?
Definitely. And so I normally say the ABCs to clarity. It's very easy to remember. It's accept, believe, connect. But within that, there are definitely steps of alignment, ideation, and awareness, alignment. I was like, I'm wrong with there. Awareness, alignment, and then activation and actualization. And so in the awareness phase, one, identifying that you're multi-passionate, what that really means, how to hone in on those skill sets, the common thread between all of your passions so that you really can focus. Once you know the common thread, which mine is clarity, and just for an example, I'm a certified bartender, a certified nail tech. I've been an event planner. I've done all the things looking for the thing, but it was clarity and expression that really was my thing. And so now that I found that, I'm able to focus and help others do the same. And so then once you go into the alignment, that's the connecting of the dots. And then you have your activation, which you actually put steps in place to create this vision that you see that no one else sees, and you can actually articulate your why. So they have your buy-in, because many times we're trying to get them to understand us. And if they understand your why, they probably will never see your vision. But if they understand your why and buy into your why, they will support you, and you'll get the community that you need to make the goal happen. And then there's the actualization of actually bringing this vision to light. And so it sounds simple just to put it in the 4 steps, but it does take work. But the very first step is the awareness phase and understanding what it is to be a multi-passionate and what your common thread is.
Yeah. Jateya, talk about like when you engage, what that looks like. Are you going into organizations? Are you working with individuals? Or how do you serve?
Definitely. So I do still do one-on-one coaching from time to time and group coaching, because I do have a heart for this. But mostly, I'm the silent, secret business weapon, as they call me, for a lot of business coaches. And so I coach in their programs to bring clarity to their clients so that they can achieve said goals. I also do go into corporations and do the assessment of their employees, their goals, and then align the two so that they can pull those skill sets out of their employees for happier employees and better revenue goals. And so those are the main ways that I do serve. My love is for group coaching, but I also love to go into corporations and help them thrive, because I once had the 9 to 5. And for those who still want to do the 9 to 5 and love their 9 to 5, I want them to be happy there as well as make the help the business make the revenue goals that they need. So everybody wins.
Yeah. Are you typically working over a period of time? And I'm just curious about like, kind of what does onboarding look like? Do you kind of do this through stages? Tell me more about that. I'm
Definitely.
just trying to visualize for someone's like, ooh, maybe we should hire Jateya. What does that look like?
Thank you. So for the individual or solopreneur or entrepreneur, that really looks like either project-based, program-based, or 90 days is my bare minimum that I will come in and help your clients get the clarity that they need to move forward. On the corporation side, it really is an assessment of their needs, but normally it comes in phases. And so we will come in, and once we have this assessment of your goals, we normally do minimum of 90-day projects, whether that's workshops, facilitations, or just consulting on that end, depending on your needs. We come in on phases and really handle and tackle your goals.
Excellent. Jateya, when someone goes to your website, and that's jateyajones.com, and they're like, okay, I either recognize, we've got, folks within our organization that would, kind of, I think Jateya, you were describing pretty well, or, a business owner founder themselves, like, boy, this would be great. I'd love to get clarity, because maybe they get frustrated with themselves because, again, they were told that, who they are is bad or wrong or something like that. And you're like, no, this is a gift. I just want to be able to, well, I want to send them to, they've got a superpower here, and I want to send them to you, Professor X, who can help them, Dr. X's gift, or a school for the gifted, X-Men Mutant Academy here, help them refine their gifts here and use their superpowers in a positive way. What are the next steps, like when they go to your website?
So for corporations, I normally send them to the partnerships and collaborations. You submit a form, and we get back to you after evaluating your results that you provided, to see how we better can serve you or best can serve you. And then for the individual, or also for the entrepreneur, normally we allow them to use our quiz tool, which is just jateyajones.com/quiz, to help them identify, or help their clients identify their skill sets and talents that are most common, so they can really focus in and hone in on what is that purpose, what is that common thread that is honed in inside of them to help pull that out. And so for the individual, we send them there, or for the coaches out there, we send their clients there. So then we have that assessment, and the client also has that, and they have prompts to actually continue to coach themselves to really pull those things out and become aware of what their superhero power or common thread is.
Yeah, that would be great because, especially if it was like, well, I love doing this, but I also love doing this, and I also love doing this. To be able to identify, well, here's actually your purpose, and I wonder how often, it's not necessarily one or the other. It's like, it's like when I look at my background in media, I use that today. I'm not a media consultant anymore, but wow, or my degree in family science and family therapy. Guess what? I use that today too, but I'm not a family therapist.
Exactly, exactly. Because a lot of individuals try to say, I'm only going to do this one thing. When in actuality, those other interests that you have, they help you do the thing. So,
Ooh,
like you said,
yes.
with the media, your therapy background makes you a great interviewer. You're really able to tap into the heart and center of people. And so, it really is a collective, holistic approach to being great, like to actually be able to cultivate that superhero power and know how to use it, right? Because most superheroes in the beginning, it comes out and they don't know how to use it and it's all over the place. And it's that pivotal moment in the movie where they're like, I have this now. And that is really what it is when you actually realize, I did this, I did this, I did this, and it really does help me in business, but it doesn't have to be the thing that I do.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Jateya Jones, your website, jateyajones.com. Jateya, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.